Hi guys, I'm Laura Vitale. On this episode of Laura in the Kitchen, I'm going to show you how to make some pepperoni pizza rolls. Don't lie, I know, you know what I'm talking about. You know those little frozen treats that you buy in the freezer section of your grocery store. I know that you've eaten at some point in your life and probably still eat them, and I got no shame in my game. I have eaten my share of these many times, and I love them, but I like to make them at home because it's convenient. I can make them whatever I want, and I don't fry them. I bake them, so I feel a little bit better about eating them, and it's my sister's favorite treat ever. So I love making them because I know that she really loves pizza rolls, and when you can make them from scratch, it's just much better. You know, you just feel. I know I'm her favorite sister because I'm her only sister, but then I get a lot more brownie points when I make them for her for scratch. So anyway, the list of ingredients is very short. You don't need a whole lot, but they're all the right ones. The flavor is just about identical to the ones you get in the grocery store, I promise. What you're gonna start off with is some tomato puree. Please don't get thin tomato sauce. You really need the consistency of tomato puree. This is some pepperoni. You can use turkey or regular pepperoni. This is turkey pepperoni. Doesn't make a difference at all which one you use. And this is some shredded mozzarella. This is some pizza seasoning, which is it's really key here to give you that phenomenal flavor. The pizza seasoning has just got a blend of the traditional toppings you put on a pizza: hot pepper flakes, basil, oregano, onion, and garlic, all mixed together. So you can make your own blend, or you can buy it pre-made. And the dough, you'll need some wonton wrappers. Really simple. Buy them at the grocery store in the refrigerated section. What I like to do is I like to keep them covered like this so that they don't dry out while I'm working on everything else. Very simple, and this little bit of ingredients will make a ton because you only need a little bit of filling for each one. Okay, I've got my little mini food processor here. The very first thing I'm going to do is take my pepperoni, which this is probably more than I'll need for this batch. But the good thing is you can keep it in the fridge and you can make them throughout the week. And then just pulse this to chop up the pepperoni nice and fine. Okay, you want it to be really nicely and finely chopped because there's going to be such little filling for each one that you want to make sure that the pieces are not too big. Otherwise you'll have problems closing them and all that jazz. Can I pull this back on? There we go. I'm going to do the same thing with my mozzarella because I know what you're thinking. It's already shredded, but it's not small enough. It needs to be smaller. It needs to be chopped up smaller. So I'm going to add that in and do exactly the same thing. Just pulse it to chop it a little finer. Excellent. Perfect. Okay. Now, you don't have to do pepperoni if you don't want to, but that's my favorite, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm also going to add my pizza seasoning in my tomato sauce. Well, it's actually not tomato sauce, it's tomato puree. Tomato sauce, the reason why I'm insisting on making sure it's tomato puree, not tomato sauce, because tomato sauce is a lot more liquidy, a lot thinner in consistency, and you don't want that because otherwise it's going to just leak everywhere and it won't hold well. Okay, so now it's just a question of rocking and rolling. You're really not going to roll, you're more going to fold, but you'll see what I'm going at here. Okay, you're going to take your wonton wrapper, you're going to take each one, and the first few will be messy, do not panic. I also have a little baking sheet here with some parchment paper. You're going to take your wonton wrapper, you're going to put it in front of me kind of like a diamond shape, like so. You're going to take, for each one, a half a teaspoon of your sauce mixture, half a teaspoon of your pepperoni, just a little bit more because that was a small, and a half a teaspoon of cheese. You don't put too much because they will explode. Then you take a finger with some water, you just sort of run it on there like so, okay? You take the corner closest to you. Don't worry if things leak out a little bit, it's fine. Like that. Make sure you got a little bit of water here on the sides. And then you bring in the corner, and then look what I'm doing with my finger. I'm also bringing in that part right there, like that, making almost like a little bit of a double fold. And then you just fold it over like so. And then I'm going to put this on my baking sheet. I am going to continue to make all of mine, to stuff them and get them all going. And then I'm going to pop them into the fridge for about 20 minutes, and I'll show you what they look like when they're done. We'll do one last step, and then we'll bake them. These babies were in the fridge for about 20 minutes. Do not panic if you think they look dry. They're gonna be wonderful and give you really lovely crunch, which I love. I've got my oven preheated to 400. I've got a pastry brush in my hand and I've got some vegetable oil. Now you can use some nonstick cooking spray here, but I've tried it with some, some cooking spray and some vegetable oil, and this just works better. It gives you better texture and color. So all I'm gonna do is just lightly brush each one, both sides, with your veg oil. It's really important to make sure that they're well brushed so that they develop a really beautiful crust. These are ready to go. They just need to go into the oven for around 16 to 20 minutes. You want to flip them halfway through. So around the 8-minute mark, check on them, and if the bottom looks really lovely, golden brown and crispy, then flip them. If not, just give them a few more minutes and then just wait for the other side to be golden brown and crispy. I'll show you what they look like when they're done. These look amazing. Look at that. I just took them out of the oven. They were in there for 9 minutes on each side, and I just like to put them on a paper towel lined plate. Now you're thinking, well, you could have just fried them, you brushed them with oil, but I only brushed them with 2 tablespoons of the vegetable oil. The rest is still in there. And to me, if I don't have to take out my big frying pan and do all of that, then I'm happy, because that is just extra hassle that I don't want to do unless I absolutely have to, or it's a treat. And by putting them in the fridge for just a few minutes, it allows the cheese and everything to kind of not ooze out as easily, which is important. And they smell so good. I want to bite into them, but I know it's going to be really hot, so I want this one nice and golden brown, crispy. You can tell it's crispy. Give me a second here. Hot. I don't know if you can see. They are yummy. Crispy. I love pepperoni, but please, if you like sausage, if you like bacon, if you like anything, by all means throw it in there. Be careful with veggies because the extra moisture might make these fall apart. And I also wanted to make sure that you don't make the same mistake I've made and get egg roll wrappers instead of wonton wrappers, because if you make these with egg roll wrappers, first of all, those are really big, the inside will be really sort of still soft and it won't crisp up all the way. It's just a different texture, so I much prefer the wonton wrappers, and they're so good. They make them really nice and small, perfect 2-biters. They don't take very much time. They certainly aren't fancy, but they hit the spot every single time. And if you have a craving for those little things, like I sometimes do, then these are the answer. I hope you enjoy spending time with me. Go to laurainthekitchen.com to get the recipe, and I'll see you next time. Bye!